welcome to the first episode of CYBER TIKKA MASALA. Yes, a new cyber delicacy, your own cybersecurity podcast, a podcast that keeps CIOs and CISOs ahead with latest cyber threats and news. So, today's podcast will cover all the cyber threats and news of entire January 2022. And subsequent podcasts will come every magnetic Monday with weekly updates. Yes, now no need to toggle from one website to another or read through various emails or WhatsApp messages. Rather, we would compile all the important cyber threats and news from hundreds of online platforms, and you just need to listen to this short podcast to stay updated. In fact, we would give you supplemental documents with actionable threat intel feeds with specific hyperlinks to get more details. And what's more exciting is you also stand a chance to win exciting gifts every week. Isn't it amazing? So let's begin. Let's now talk about recent cyber attacks that came to light. Continuing from last year, Log4j is still making headlines. Microsoft warns of continued attacks exploiting Apache Log4j vulnerabilities. For four more weaknesses in the utility have come to light, providing opportunistic bad actors with persistent control over the compromised machines and mount an evolving era of attacks ranging from crypto miners to ransomware. Nearly all OEMs are continuously releasing patches, so please take more assertive steps faster before it's too late. Hackers using device registration trick to attack enterprises with lateral phishing. Microsoft has disclosed details of a large-scale, multi-phase phishing campaign that uses stolen credentials to register device on a victim's network to further propagate spam mails and widen the infection pool. The campaign involved stealing credentials in targeted organization by sending DocuSign brand phishing email with a malicious link to redirect the recipient to a RODS website and steal the credential, and then leverage the lateral phishing. Hackers' campaign failed in enterprises where MFA was implemented. So you know what to do. Mole-rat hackers are abusing legitimate cloud services like Google Drive and Dropbox to hold malware payloads, CNC, and the exfiltration of data from targets across the Middle East. Attack activities associated with the actor has leveraged geopolitical and military themes to entice users to open Microsoft Office attachment and click on a malicious link, delivers a .NET backdoor on an infected system that in turn takes an advantage of a Dropbox API to establish communication with an adversary-controlled server and transmit data. North Korean hackers group APT30A using Windows Update Service to infect PCs with malware. It establishes a communication with CNC server, a GitHub repository hosting malicious modules masquerading as PNG image files. Aditya Birla Fashion and Retail Limited faced a data breach on its portal and has engaged forensic security experts to investigate the data breach incident involving 5.4 million email addresses. North Korean hackers group returned with the Steliathia variant of Coney Rat malware. The infection starts with a malicious Microsoft Office document that, when opened, initiates a multi-stage process that helps the attacker elevate privileges, evade detection, and ultimately deploy the payload on compromised systems. Taiwanese company QNAP has warned customers to update network attacks, storages, appliances, and routers against a new ransomware variant called Deadbolt. The issue has been addressed in the 4 versions. Do Not Team, also known as APT-C35 and Sector E02, has been linked to a string of intrusions primarily targeting embassies, governments, and military organizations based in South Asia, including India, Bangladesh, Nepal, and Sri Lanka. with Windows and Android malware. Delivered via weaponized Microsoft Office documents, the so-called YTY malware framework is a chain of intermediary downloads that executes a backdoor and deploys reverse shell for remote access. Hackers using new evasive technique to deliver async rat malware designed to remotely monitor and control its infected computers through a secure encrypted connection. In yet another instance of software supply chain attack, dozens of WordPress themes and plugins hosted on our developer's website were backdoored with malicious code. Hackers planted secret backdoor in dozens of WordPress plugins and themes, allowing the attackers to have administrative control over the website. The vulnerability has been assigned the definer CVE 2021 24867. So be aware of using the free plugins and templates. The International Committee of the Red Cross suffers cyber attacks, leading data breach of over 500,000 highly vulnerable people. It is still not known who is responsible for the cyber attack, but an investigation has been launched to understand the scope of the data breach. Social engineering attacks have till now the most success rate. Recently, in one of the incidents, shipment delivery scams become the favored way to spread malware. Attackers increasingly are spoofing the courier DHL and using socially engineered messages related to packages to trick users into downloading trickbot and other malicious payloads. 2FA Authenticator app loaded with banking Trojan. Vulture Rat infects more than 10,000 victims before it's removed from the Google Play. The app asks the device permissions beyond what was disclosed in the Google Play profile. So be aware of what you download and what permissions you allow. The Norway's second largest media company, has issued a public statement that it was hit by a cyber attack that crippled its printing infrastructure, affecting its newspaper edition on a temporary basis. The websites of one of the Portugal's biggest newspaper and of a major broadcaster, both owned by the country's largest media group, Impresa, were down after being hit by a Lepidus hacker group. Japanese tech giant Panasonic has confirmed that hackers accessed personal information belonging to a job candidates and interns during a November attack. Canada's Foreign Affairs Department has suffered a cyber attack that disrupts its operation. As per experts, this could be a consequence of Canada in backing Ukraine in the war of it with Russia. Ukrainian government officially accuses Russia of recent cyber attacks. Russia, however, has denied the allegation. We have nothing to do with these cyber attacks. Cyber war is certainly a new age weapon. Who knows who is right? However, as per Ukraine, the purpose of the attack is not only to intimidate the society, but also stabilize the situation in Ukraine by stopping the work of public sector and undermining the confidence in the government on the part of Ukrainians. Now let's focus on some cyber news that are of importance. Privacy is fundamental. And in one of the recent cases, the French National Data Protection Authority, CNIL, fines Google and Facebook 150 million euros and 60 million euros respectively, after it receives many complaints reporting the way cookies can be refused. Thereafter, even France Supreme Administrative Court said that it is upheld a decision by the French National Data Protection Authority, imposing on the fine on the US tech giants of breaches linked to its cookie policy. The restricted committee considered that this process affects the freedom of consent since on these websites, several clicks are required to refuse all cookies against a single one to accept them. This constitutes an infringement of Article 82 of the French Data Protection Act. In addition to the fines, the committee ordered the companies to make necessary changes within 3 months, and any delay will invite a penalty of 100,000 euros per day of delay. In another case of personal data breach, US healthcare company iMed reaches $600,000 settlement following 2020 data breach of 1.2 million individuals. An investigation by New York Attorney General highlighted many security shortcomings, including a failure to implement multi-factor authentication for the affected email account, despite the fact that account was accessible via web browser and contained a consumer's personal sensitive information. Authorities are getting stricter. Additional charges has been added to the indictment against a former Uber chief security officer over his alleged involvement in the cover-up of a hack against the ride-hailing app in 2016. The cyber attack in October 2016 that exposed 57 million users and 600,000 drivers record. Alleged CEOs misused the bug botany and failure to disclose breach lead to criminal charges. CIOs and CISOs, you need to remain more alert and be wary of the risk you carry because of your own decision. I hope you are compensated well for such risk. China's cyberspace regulators issued draft rules for fakes in cyberspace. Any platform that uses deep learning or virtual reality to alter any online content are now to be expected to respect social morality and ethics, adhere to the correct political direction. Chinese hackers group APT27, also known as Emissary Panda, has started to target German pharma and technology companies. German's Federal Office for the Protection of the Constitution, in its annual Constitutional Protection Report from 2019, the BFV had also pointed out the group is believed to target foreign embassies and critical sector, and otherwise also long suspected launching attacks on Western government agencies. In fact, last year, the United States with its allies, that is the European Union, Australia, Britain, Canada, Japan, and New Zealand, accused China of carrying out a global cyber campaign. White House meets with software firms and open source organizations on security. The number of cyber attacks and their global impact has prompted the Biden administration and software developers to pledge to produce more secure software. In fact, last year also, the Biden administration releases the executive order on cybersecurity that was widely praised for being more delayed and than past administrations. In addition, the administration announced in October that it would create the Bureau of Cyberspace and Digital Policy within the US Department of State to lead international diplomacy on the issue. Similarly, in another event, the White House, Environmental Protection Agency, and Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency are rolling out a 100-day plan to improve the cybersecurity of countries' water system, which faced a variety of attacks over the last year. Apple fixes 2 zero-day security bugs one exploited in the wild. iOS 15.3 and iPad OS 15.3 fixed the Safari browser flaw that could have spilled users' browsing data, plus a zero-day IO mobile frame buffer bug exploited in the wild. So check out any available patch for your Apple device. McAfee, now Trellix, has addressed a high-severity vulnerability tracked as CV2022-016H, that resides in McAfee agent software for Windows. And attackers can exploit this flaw to escalate privileges and execute arbitrary code with system privileges. McAfee also addressed a command injection vulnerability tracked as CV2021-31854 in software agent for Windows prior to 575. Microsoft mitigated record-breaking 3.47 terabit per second DDoS attacks and Azure customer at an average of 1,955 attacks per day and within a maximum of 4,296 attacks per day recorded in a single day. As per those who thought that DDoS attacks are lowering down, this news bite is for them. Microsoft this week revealed that it had fended off a record number of distributed denial of services attacks at its customers in 2021. One of the DDoS attacks took place in November, targeting an unnamed Azure customer in Asia and lasted a total of 15 minutes. It's a hit peak throughput of 3.47 and a packet rate of 340 million packets per second, making it the largest attack reported in the history. There are also some good news. Interpol busted 11 members of Nigerian BEC cybercrime gang. It was a well-coordinated law enforcement operation that resulted in the arrest of the Nigerian cybercrime gang, notorious for perpetrating business email compromises attacks targeting more than 50,000 victims in the recent year. REvil ransomware gang arrested in Russia. Russia's intelligence bureau FSB seized more than 426 million rubles, including about 440 pounds worth of cryptocurrencies. The Russian authority arresting the REvil gang on the Russian soil is a monumental movement in the cybercrime and cyber relations between the US and the Russia. Earlier, the US had offered a reward of up to $10 million for information leading to the REvil gang members, following up ransomware attacks in US. For years, Russia has ignored and denied accusation that Russian ransomware hackers are allowed safe harbor in the country to attack Western targets. In the Geneva summit last summer, Russia's President Putin and US President Biden agreed to open discussion about how to combat the scourge of ransomware. But even the most optimistic expert had given up on seeing the talks bear the fruit. In yet another similar incident, the founder of the notorious cybercrime group known as Infraud Organization arrested in Russia. As a side effect of the American indictment, 13 people were arrested in 7 different countries: Australia, France, Italy, Kosovo, Serbia, the UK, and the US. However, as we have seen with various ransomware gangs in the past, the shutdown do not always mean end of their malicious activity. So who knows, celebrations over these arrests may be premature. While we discuss about these several cyber attacks and ongoing campaigns, so it becomes more imperative that you work on improving the security posture in your organization. Still, we have compiled all the actionable IOCs and cyber threat intel feeds around the various technology. You may download these free supplementary documents from our social handles like YouTube, LinkedIn. So please make the best use of it. So that's all in the news. Hey, so here we go. Here's a chance of winning an amazing gift, and what's better than an ingenious book-shaped secret locker? And to win this, you just have to like and make some encouraging comment on this podcast post. Your feedback is really important to us. After all, this cybersecurity podcast is your own. and we would make all the best efforts to incorporate your feedback to make it more relevant to you. So please like and comment to encourage us, and the best encouraging comment will win an amazing book secret locker. Please do not forget to subscribe or follow us on any of the social platforms. So, see ya on next Magnetic Monday.